Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. The voice outside the hut waited patiently in the darkness. Kofi. My father's voice. Exactly as I remembered it. Calm. Deep. Familiar. Impossible. Mama Sira grabbed my wrist so tightly it hurt. "Do not speak," she whispered. Another knock struck the door. Knock, knock, knock. The fire inside the hut suddenly dimmed until the room became almost completely dark. Then came the smell. Wet soil, rotting leaves, forest smell. The same smell from the forbidden forest. Something cold crawled across the floor beneath my feet. Not water, shadow. I stared in horror as darkness slowly stretched from beneath the door like living fingers. Mama Sira immediately began whispering prayers under her breath while clutching the charm around her neck. The voice outside changed slightly. Still my father's voice, but wrong somehow. Deeper, hungrier. "Kofi," it whispered softly. "Open the door." My body trembled. Part of me wanted to run to it, to believe, to see my father again. But another part of me knew something terrible stood outside that hut. Something wearing my father's voice like stolen clothing. Then suddenly, the knocking stopped. Silence swallowed everything. A long moment passed. Then footsteps slowly retreated away from the hut. Thud, thud, thud. Until finally, nothing. Mama Sira waited several seconds before releasing my wrist. Her entire body shook. "What was that?" I whispered, but she refused to answer. Instead, she rushed toward the door and spread a line of white powder across the entrance with trembling hands. Protection powder. Every villager used it against evil spirits, but I had never seen Mama Sira use so much before. Then she turned toward me. "You must leave the village tomorrow." My chest tightened instantly. "What?" "You heard me." "No." "Kofi, I'm not leaving you." "You don't understand," she snapped suddenly. Tears filled her eyes immediately afterwards. The anger vanished as quickly as it came. She stepped closer and held my face gently. "They are searching for you now." "Who?" Her lips parted slightly, but once again, she said nothing. I was beginning to hate silence. The next morning, the village felt different. People watched me openly now, fearfully. Whispers followed me everywhere I walked. Women pulled children away when I passed. Old men stopped speaking whenever I approached. Even animals behaved strangely around me. Dogs whimpered. Goats refused to come near. Birds suddenly flew away from nearby trees. The spirits were changing something around me. I could feel it. The air itself seemed heavier, as though invisible eyes followed every step I took. By afternoon, I could no longer bear the suffocating tension inside the village, so I went to the river. The river had always been the quietest place near the village, peaceful, safe. At least before the voices began. I sat near the edge of the water beneath a crooked palm tree, skipping stones across the dark surface, trying to clear my thoughts. The river moved slowly today, too slowly, almost unnaturally still. Even the insects were quiet. Then I heard it, crying, soft, broken, a woman's voice. I looked around quickly. Nobody. The crying came again, closer this time, from further down the riverbank. I stood slowly. Every lesson Mama Sira ever taught me screamed inside my head. Do not follow strange voices. Do not answer whispers. Do not trust spirits that cry like humans. But the sadness in that voice, it felt real, painfully real. I moved carefully along the riverbank until I saw her. A woman kneeling beside the water. Her back faced me. Long black hair covered most of her body, hanging all the way to the muddy ground. She wore a torn white dress stained with river mud. Her shoulders shook gently as she cried. Relief washed through me briefly. Maybe she was human. Maybe someone from another village had gotten lost. "Are you all right?" I asked carefully. The crying stopped instantly. Very slowly, the woman turned her head toward me. My breath caught. Her face was beautiful, but wrong. Her skin looked pale grey beneath the sunlight, too pale. And her eyes were filled completely with river water. Not tears, actual river water. It poured endlessly down her cheeks. The woman stared at me silently for several seconds. Then she spoke. "You can hear us." Not a question, a statement. Cold fear slid through my stomach. I stepped backwards carefully. The woman stood slowly from the riverbank. Her movements looked unnatural, like someone learning how to move a human body. "I know what you are," I whispered. The ghostly woman's expression changed instantly. Pain filled her face. "No, not monster." The river behind her suddenly rippled violently. Dark water swirled around her feet. "I only want my child." The sadness in her voice felt unbearable. Against my better judgment, I stopped moving. What happened to him? The ghostly woman lifted one trembling hand and pointed towards the forest beyond the river. They took him. Who took him? At that moment, the river water behind her began bubbling violently. Something moved beneath the surface. Something large. The woman noticed my fear immediately. "You must find him before nightfall," she whispered urgently. Then her face twisted in terror, as if she suddenly saw something standing behind me. Her watery eyes widened. "They found you." The river exploded upward. A massive black hand burst from beneath the water and grabbed the woman violently. She screamed, not like a spirit, like a real human mother. I stumbled backward in horror as the dark hand dragged her towards the river's depths. The woman reached desperately towards me. "Save my child," she screamed. Then the river swallowed her completely. Silence returned instantly. The water became calm again, still, empty, as if nothing had happened. I stood frozen beside the river, shaking. Then slowly, tiny wet footprints began appearing in the mud beside me, one after another, invisible feet walking out from the river and stopping directly behind me.